Hello. I just realized my camera's in the wrong place. Just give me a second. Okay. And then the chat needs to move up. Yep. I'm like top right and then damn it. Oh man, I wish OBS like undo just worked. I wish it just worked. I wish they wrote a functioning undo. Yeah, chat is still totally in the wrong spot. Okay, I'm still here. I clicked the button, nothing happened, and I got worried that I just crashed, so. Top right, 20, come back, 24, and then, is that 0? Yeah, probably 0. Alright, I'm sending a test message. Oh, hey, Yulia. Look at those ugly ass Christmas trees. Yeah. Does that look good? Looks good to me. There's no space between the chat and my webcam, but that's probably fine. Yeah, I stopped streaming for like 1 day and I got really, really lazy. Gonna be honest. Okay. So I don't know where I was with this. Was I? And Merry Christmas as well. 2 days later. I think I figured that I had just like a really... Something was just super wrong, I think. Yeah, I have this happening. And it's like, it's really suspicious how it happens. Okay, never mind. Not too suspicious. I was gonna say, it always seems like it follows it. I just have some kind of logic error with my tracking. So I think this only manifests when there are several other trees in play. And I think it's got something to do with... Also, we're going to see how long I can even last. It has something to do with, I think it's like the tree that I was trying to get far enough away from, it clears. Ah. Okay, so there is a pattern to how this is appearing. You'll notice it either appears one later or on the same row, right? Or I guess just later. Because these two are definitely too close. I don't see it where one happens too early. So it's definitely... My thinking was we're tracking through here. So if we just look at this row, I'll turn on... That's super unhelpful. Never mind. Forward draw? Okay. Maybe a little bit better. So we're tracking here on this row, and this is our closest tree. And then we get far enough away from it, maybe here or here. We get far enough away from it, and we somehow just miss this one. We somehow just don't check this one. So a problem with this is part of the tracking. This is so annoying. Why does this always, like, is it the comment? What's happening here? Do I need to write return? Also, I got new keys. I need to investigate what's going on, because some of them just, like, I press, like, halfway, not far enough to trigger the key, but it gets, the keycap gets, like, stuck. And so sometimes I press, especially C, I think. C was one that was happening a lot with this. Yeah. See, I'm holding down C right now, and it's not typing anything, because it's, like, halfway down. I have to, like, slam the key down, and it gets stuck on something. I gotta figure something out with that. So, what's going on here is we basically get to this point, and this thing is happening. I think this is what's happening. We do this return. We keep going, we're doing the return because we're too close to the one that we're currently tracking. There's no need, I'm still too close, there's no need to look for anything else. As soon as I get far enough away, I get here, and somehow I don't check that anymore. This last clear column, I don't check. Here's the thing. We do end up here, so I think as we're tracking along, this one, like, didn't happen. I think it could have happened here, but it didn't happen. Or maybe it was too close to this one, so then it didn't. I don't know. But this happens. So essentially, I think it's because of this that we're missing. We're missing that. But last clear column. If we are prior to our last clear column, which is perhaps incorrect, I think what this probably should be is the first run. I probably just need to rethink this. I have a feeling the track pruning is probably going to come in handy now at this point. It's probably fast enough that I can do that. The issue is ensuring that I'm properly... I'm staying far enough away, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Here's the thing. I am going to, in fact, pull this up and play it because it was really good. And I thought it was really funny too because it, this guy finds the exact same library that I was looking at that I, like, kind of I criticized. And I do think it's a really, really bad library. That's not 8, is it? Alright, that's 8. Because it's... I believe what I said was this plugin is only usable for placing a couple assets to take a screenshot of the plugin. I genuinely believe not this guy's one. This guy's one is pretty good. But the one that he based his off of, which is kind of the path that I almost took, was just using theirs as a base and then going from there. It's Proton Scatter. He says like it sucked, and he comes up with this blue noise thing. I want to know what this is. It seems like it's a seeded but very procedural noise generation somehow. I'll have to look at it because I could probably use this. As far as I'm aware, this noise pattern is really fast and it looks good enough for things like this. And he even mentioned something great, which is density scaling. You could effectively paint density areas and you don't have lines. What I would have to do for mine is I have to make a whole new region with a lower density setting in order to have fall off. Or I just have to go manually paint them, which is probably what I probably can't do that. Anyway, I'm going to play this video. I'm going to play the whole video because it's really good.
Something I've always struggled with in all my games is that I always want the movement to feel fast, and at the same time, I want the world to feel huge. But weirdly, I find that when I make the
think we
player
can
move
skip
faster,
most
it
of
makes
the intro.
World feel a sense of how fast they're going. Fortunately, I have some
This is more talking
assets
about
that
his
should
game.
work great for this, but I'm not about to place thousands of these assets manually. I need some kind of foliage system to automatically distribute them, which I've never built before. There are a few Godot plugins that can scatter assets around a scene for me. They serve different niches, but the best overall is probably Proton Scatter. It's easy to set up, it has great documentation.
I like how he says best overall, and then he tries to use it and he immediately decides that he can't use it. Proton Scatter is a failure. Like, I'm going to be serious, totally serious. Proton Scatter is a failure. I don't think anyone actually uses it. Everyone looks at it and it's like, wow, this looks really cool. And they try to use it and like, never mind. I can't use that. That's so bad. I will just manually place them. Like, it really says a lot when this guy who's making a game has a real need for exactly what Proton Scatter supposedly offers. And I'm guessing he probably used it for about 30 minutes before he decided, screw that.
And a professional
I think he literally says, I'm going to make my own.
I can't figure out how to smoothly fade the density of instances.
You can't.
I can have areas with 100% instances and areas with 0% instances, but nothing in between. The plugin is also kind of slow. There's no way around it. I have to write my own plugin.
Plugin is kind of slow. Kind of slow is an understatement. Like, it literally can't place more than like 20 things before you start lagging. You could see he's like clicking and dragging boxes that contain maybe 50 things in them. They're not even rendered, by the way.
I can't figure out how to smoothly...
Some of these aren't even rendered, by the way, because he's just dragging it. Like, literally a quarter of this volume is rendered. And you can see how he's running at like 5 FPS, dragging this thing to the left.
But I can't figure out how to smoothly fade the density of instances.
I think they might have improved the performance a little bit, because I've never seen that spinner before when I first used it. So maybe they slightly improved the performance with like threading. It is still so slow. Like, he's got what? He probably has I figure out the grid on this. I mean, either way, you could see it. Like, literally nothing is rendered right now, and it's like, cutting his frame rate. He doesn't even have his frame rate shown. I wish he did.
Areas with 100% instances and areas with 0% instances, but nothing in between. The plugin is also kind of slow. There's no way
Kind
around
of slow.
it.
It's unusably slow.
I have to write my own plugin. Let's say we have a 100 by 100 meter area, and we need to scatter 100 instances evenly across it. The first idea that comes to mind is to just pick
I
100
gotta stop my
random
music
points.
because it's just.
But if we do this, we see that the points aren't.
It is okay. I will say it's a little annoying that he renders this entire thing out with music, and the music is not even quiet. It's really loud.
Actually evenly distributed.
Music, I would even say, is louder than he is.
There are clumps and bald spots, and worse, sometimes 2 points end up practically on top of each other, resulting in overlapping instances. To solve this, we need to check every instance against every other instance.
And this is a serious problem that I think he's correct with proton scatter. It places points and then uses an algorithm to push the points away from each other. But you still end up with things being too close, closer than you want them to be. So even after doing this, you would have to go in and do some kind of manual fix. I don't even know if you could do that. Maybe you can. At least on Terrain 3D, you definitely could, because of how it places with Terrain 3D. It physically uses the terrain instancer. So once it runs, it does the same thing like I do. It takes like full control of that region, of those meshes in that region. I think it stores all of its locations too, so it can reference them later. So it won't clear anything that you write, that you add in manually.
And make sure they're a certain distance apart. I haven't read all the proton scatter code, but I think this is what it does. It would explain why it's so slow. To place 500 instances, it has to perform at least 250,000 checks. We need a way to randomly, evenly distribute points in a space in a performant way. Now, I have a vague idea that blue noise can help us do this, because people use it all the time in computer graphics, and it's basically magic. You're probably more familiar with white noise. That's where every pixel has a totally random brightness. If we blur this image, it's easy to see there are some clumps and bald spots. This is the exact same problem we had earlier, and we can solve it the same way. Basically, we make sure that pixels with similar brightness are spread a certain distance apart. And the result is blue noise. It still looks pretty random, but if we take this image and blur it, we can see it's much more even. Back to white noise for a moment. If we take this image and repeat it, the pattern is glaringly obvious and visually jarring. Now, the cool thing about the blue noise calculation,
I was gonna say, I'm kind of surprised you even got this to
ensure
render
similar
out.
Pixels are spaced far apart,
But it is a
even
static
when the
image, so
is repeated, and the result
it
is
leaves it
a
on screen for a very long
flawless
time.
tiling
Jeez.
pattern. So, how do we take this magic image and use it to place instances
Oh,
in
he
a scene?
keeps going.
Well,
He
we
shows
take
also the
advantage of
effective density as well.
final and most magical property of blue noise, which is that it can be made progressive. What that means is if we take every pixel in this image that is below a threshold of, say, 10% brightness, the resulting image is also blue noise, no matter what threshold we pick. As the threshold increases, more and more pixels appear, but always evenly spaced and always tileable. So we can just take every pixel that's below a certain threshold and place an instance there. What threshold should we use? That's a decision for the level designer to make. The level designer is also me. And the great part is, we don't have to use the same threshold everywhere. We can set it higher in some areas than others. That means we can smoothly fade the threshold from low to high to get gradually more and more instances. After 2 weeks of noodling, the plugin is ready. It's called Scattershot. You can download it now on GitHub or the Godot asset library.
The only thing unfortunate with this, and he's going to get into it, is that it's good for placing a few small things that are going to be deleted from LOD. I can't do that. And I guess that was the wrong way to say that. That get cold when they're too far away. He doesn't use multi-mesh. As far as I'm aware, this is not tweakable. I think you would have mentioned that. It seems like it's really similar to proton scatter, where you have a volume and it just places them in there, and then that's kind of it. And I'm sure there's probably no... It might not even be... I mean, I guess I could look at it. But it might not even work with Terrain 3D. Because you would need to have... Yeah, it looks like it doesn't. Yeah. There would have to be something in here. Let me just see. Zone is probably it. Shape. A zone contains shape. I don't... I guess this means it has dependency on this one, or it extends this one. Look at shape. Okay, shape was nothing. Really? Wow. I don't need this. That is a lot. And I'm still not seeing where... It does have a collision though, so that's cool. What is this? I want to see what this is. Oh, okay. That's not what I expected. But I guess that makes sense. So blue noise looks like something you don't generate in real time. You create an image for it ahead of time, and you use that everywhere. I was kind of hoping it might just be... Maybe you can, and it's not that hard. He just went with putting it there.
I'm happy with the performance so far. Scattershot only spawns one chunk of instances per frame because I can tolerate a bit of pop-in every once.
Anyway, I just thought it was cool. I want to show that. I will not be using it. But there's that. Okay, so last clear column. I think I need to... And here's another thing I want to mention. You might see something happening with the shape of these. Maybe it's not so clear, but it seems like there's this pretty solid tendency for these to form lines like this. You know, occasionally you get a little bit of randomness comes in and the line kind of like deviates a bit. But it's like you really do have this like really regular line happening. And I can really trace it. So I don't like this. I don't like the fact that I get this line. And I think just because of the way that I am placing these, that's unavoidable. Immediately clear, if I make a shape like this, you get that happening. We just draw basically a straight line. And it kind of stays that way until it just so happens to not. And then maybe we start getting some breakup happening. But I feel like it's still super regular. I mean, this is just like literally straight lines here. So maybe in the middle it doesn't look so bad. But for small shapes, I think it's really, really bad. Especially on the edges. But I guess what I should be doing is just looking here and like asking myself, does that look random? I feel like I can see lines. There's no obvious grid. Also, overdraw is pretty crazy there. I don't know. I think what might benefit the most is the way to produce this. Minimum distance should probably stay pretty low. Or like in the 10s, I guess, right? And I should be really messing with density. Like maybe if I just drop density a little bit, this might start looking a lot better. Not sure. Anyway, I think perhaps what I need to do is I probably need to just drop drop the whole clear column thing and just stick with tracking the closest thing that I know about. And as soon as I'm far enough away from that, I scan the area that I need to scan and just go with that, right? And I can kind of do a little bit of like optimizations there already. Or really think about it. Alright, let me look at data though. Because I have this create pop data. This is probably just wrong. I probably just need to do that. So no more last clear column. I'm going to skip that entirely. I'm going to implement prune tracking. Maybe. Maybe I won't need to. Essentially, this will never happen, so we simplify a little bit. I can just cut all that out. I'll just get rid of that comment. At least far enough away from all our closest instances. So we go through this list that we know we need to be far enough away from. Still too close. And then once I get here, if we're not tracking, we can skip that. I guess I would need this. So closest can probably... No, I think this all has to be created right up front. No, I think once I'm here, I can just check if the column is outside my range, and I can skip it really fast. So let me do this. My shift key is also being weird. If column is less than or equal to, let me check what that I do. What I do for minimum distance. If we are less than the minimum distance, so if we are equal, if we are further than we are further than our minimum distance on the column, we can skip. Once we go past the column, I think I can do equals to. We have to be, if the minimum distance is 6, we have to be less than 6, right? So if the minimum distance is 6, we have to be, I would have to write it like this. Right, so I can do less than or equal to, and if we're greater than or equal to minimum distance, then we can just break, because there's no way it could be any further. Skip columns, that's definitely don't matter. And it's ordered. These are ordered and break as soon as we are far away. Stop early if the best option is too far. So this is for density checks. Whoa, no, never mind. I think I missed this. So I think what I really want to do is I want the difference between our column and vertex. So if we're negative, we're earlier than our vertex. If we're positive, we're past our vertex. So and I'll be able to use that for all of these. So if column is greater than vertex, this is the same thing as saying if column diff is greater than 0, if column difference is less than or equal to our negative minimum distance, and then if column diff is greater than or equal to this, okay. Okay. Well, then I guess honestly, I think if we're not ourselves and minimum distance is -1, I can skip it, right? So yeah, I think Up here, this actually makes sense to do this up here. I'm not tracking this one. And then this will just be equal to that. Okay. So I'm not even doing anything if we don't need a minimum distance for it. Though, I think because I'm going through data, maybe the check is redundant. Because minimum distances is being produced from this. So, and -1 is the default value. You can only have positive values here. So it's only there if it's yourself. I guess the real issue is for density. I'm constantly checking to see if I have a new thing. Because once I go to a new row and I start over, I have to be checking. I mean, what I'm writing right now, I'd have to check everything all the time. Maybe the density should just be a probability. A pure probability chance. Instead of making it distance-based. So that way, when I am far enough away from the thing, I can just start running that, like, 10%, 5% chance or whatever it is. No, because I still want that effect where once you're far enough away, the probability gets so high that it basically becomes guaranteed at a certain point. Perhaps with the density, I guess I can compute a maximum distance to look for a given density. If I go and plug this all in. One sec, I'll be back. I'm gonna go plug that all in on Desmos and look at it again. I'm back. Hi, Yo-Yo. Welcome back. All right. Negative cosine x pi over s plus 1 over pi 10. I'm just going to write it like this. Is it pi over s or yeah, plus 1. Okay. Over pi and then tan that. Where okay, there we go. Is there a way to like how did Christmas go? It went well. I got keycaps. But unfortunately, their size is a little bit weird because some of them like catch. So I have to like really press the key down hard. I think you need to look at it at some point and figure out why that is. It's only for certain keys. Like 4 of them do this. But they're common letters. Okay. About like 56, yep. Okay. So it's just literally S, right? So I only have to look within 10 blocks. If the density goes down too far though, then I do have to start looking kind of far. But if I'm over that, then I know I'm at the max probability. And for certain densities, I literally only have to look. I guess here's the issue, right? This doesn't really make any sense, does it? A density of 10 is quite literally the max. Right, because really all I'm doing at this point is like I'm sliding this point down a little bit until we hit 5. And then now we can look between 1 and 2. And it's just sliding this probability down for 1 point away. But then 2 is like a really high chance, like a 30% chance. Alright, so I think what I should do is I should just make another function that I can compute a maximum distance that I have to check for probability. Use my gift of subs for the greater good. Primogen? Shader 37 prime. Why is it shader 37? Max probability distance. My thinking here is I return 0 if we need the nearest value. Otherwise, I return the probability if we don't. Or I guess not 0, but like -1. If you need the nearest thing for a certain density. Need it? No. I return the distance you need for a given density. I guess this can be a float. Yeah, the thing that sucks the most is the shift key is not working very well. Not often. Like, I don't know how that's not pressed. It's so weird. I think it is just because Razer decided to make a really strange, a slightly weird layout for the keys. Maybe the keycaps aren't very good. I don't know. But they're hitting the key. They're like hitting the switch a lot is what's happening. So it doesn't... C does it the most. See if I can do it. I've done it. I'm holding down C right now. Oh, it actually triggered. I held a little bit harder. C, shift, I think F? No. Oh, the backspace key does it sometimes too. That was really annoying. Shift, backspace. Enter key pretty much always works. I can feel it catching a bit, but it works. Tough. So this should literally just be density over 10. Is that what I saw? 1 over 10? No, it is actually just S. Okay. So 10 over D. And I guess this one probably should be that value, actually. Should be the same thing. So I can modify this if I wanted to. And it still works. Okay. So this is fine. We're just checking every time that we're at least far enough away from everything that we needed to be. Then we get in here. If we have a minimum distance and we are not there yet, ignore it. I just realized column could be like -10 and vertex would be -1, then I guess adding that would just be -8 or 9, whatever it was. Yeah, this difference value should be negative when column is smaller, and positive when column is larger. So I'm doing this less than negative thing here because I know this would be negative. And if we are too far for it to matter, we don't care. And then once we pass it, we're actually done. Then I guess I can do another test here. If is self, and I guess I can compute it here. So I should have a density. It's density. I mean, as long as I keep the tracking list small, right? It's kind of a big thing. If the tracking list is small, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's just weird. It's just strange. It's just strange. I guess what I could do is every time I go to the next line, I can just clear data. Because I still like the test where on the first row, I do a full scan of the whole range. And then everyone after that, I'm skipping all of this, and then I'm just doing that, just the sliver in front of it. So I in theory, I would only end up checking like one column for most densities. Y'all do a method here. Gosh. No, I'm actually trying to write code. This sucks. It's really annoying. Trying to type. So next data row, we'll take in instance data. Okay. Create pop data. Oh my gosh. It's actually getting very obnoxious. Near. It looks like I'm like typing really badly. It's because I'm hitting the key and it's just not pressing the button. I don't know how A missed, but it's somehow just A just missed. I don't know how. It just missed. Equal. Okay, yeah, it's like, honestly, it seems like it's mostly keys and keyboard do this. I'm like surprised that spacebar works so well. I don't know. I was thinking maybe if I just use it long enough. That's not really, doesn't really make sense. It's not like clothing. The keycaps would break in. Whatever is happening will like, whatever extra material they have. That doesn't even make sense. I think I would literally have to go in here and like sand the bottom of these or something. To give them more space so that they can like actually fit. I don't know what's up with it. Data. Okay, so I want. This will just be last column. Started at int max. Near. Ensure itself is present for density logic. And then data near will be equal to near, and then return that. Okay. So need that next data row. We'll take instance data. And what we'll do is go through each one of these and just modify this last column thing. And then I'm going to do get here because numbers are weird sometimes. Wow. Crazy. Okay. All right. So we have to be far enough away from everything before we can do this. Then I can grab the distance for probability. It's getting really annoying. It's getting really annoying. Probability distance for instance density. Cool. If we're not tracking, we skip it. And then at the very bottom, I will just do last column, just update last column. Here we go. So if column distance is less than or equal to max density distance, could skip that. And then if we are over that value, can break. And same thing here. Because I think what happens is we start skipping based on this because everything's too far away. And then it says, okay, it could be close enough to matter for distance. So we're also going to check for minimum distance. Just maybe this doesn't really matter. Maybe this is like an else, actually. Yeah, that's definitely an else. Actually, this is definitely... Oh. No, I get it. So... these could definitely be flipped around. Where... okay, generally, you would plug it in so that your density is further than your minimum distance. Also, I guess I just realized density should probably also offset by the minimum distance. So when you are 6 units away, that's when you're at the lowest chance of spawning one. That's like you're 1 block away at that point. So that probability. No, I think I've got it actually. So when I'm checking on myself, I have to scan through everything and find whoever's closest. Once I found whoever's closest, then I can do a secondary check to see if that's too close. If it's too close, we're within our minimum distance, we won't spawn anything. But we know about it. We have tracked it. We know about it. So then we would keep going until we're far enough away. And then at that point, we do another full sweep just to check if there's anything new that came up. I think chances are more often likely than not that we will find something new, but that's fine because we skipped a bunch of checks in the middle because we were just always too close. Maybe I don't even do that step. No, I think it's a great... I think this is actually really good optimization. It's probably really effective. I guess I can pull in closest. Actually, this could go in the same spot. I could just pull in closest and say, hey, we're still too close to this one. Okay, we are. All right, I've got it. Pulling this out. I might honestly just start rewriting this. Just so I can... It's actually small enough. I can probably wrap my head around it now at this point. Okay, so the tracking looks like that. I guess go and write down what data looks like. This would be last column. Int. Near is a dictionary. And this has ID integers to, I think. What's wrong with this? Last column not declared in the current scope. This is vector 2i. Okay, cool. That's what data looks like. Data near. Drop that. If we're not tracking this one, yeah, we can skip it pretty fast, right? In fact, probably perhaps what I do is I just look to see. Change to be new closest. This will just be closest. Numbers are weird. Oh my gosh. All right. Instance ID, closest. If it is not equal to max, I need to be at least this far away. So I get minimum distance here. I'm assuming if I ever track one, I should have a minimum distance, right? And this is greater than 0. Oh, no, I see it. Okay, so I think I do have to track closest per instance. Or the last column per instance. Because the optimization really is on a per instance basis. It's not the whole thing. Well, actually, no, never mind, it is. So if we are ourselves, last column is our last full check on our own type, because that density can be a lot further than max distance, min distance. I think min distance is generally going to be pretty small for most things that are interacting with other objects, and it's going to be larger for self objects. So it's not going to be like 10 things are checking 100 blocks for 10 other things. It's going to be A is checking 10 blocks for A, B is checking 10 blocks for B, that kind of thing. Right. No. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. How about a vector 3? How about a vector 3i? Like that. Okay. Yeah. Actually, let me change it around. It'll just be x Z, or I guess XY. XY last column. So last column is updated once I do a full scan of the region, of the area, the surrounding area. And then, I just forget it. Is there a way to go from like I kind of wish there was a way to just like strip a vector 3 down to a vector 2 easily instead of having to put it into its own value. So isn't that no? What's instance data? And then if we are not equal to, let me check this. Next data row will be instance data set instance ID to vector 3 max. So you reset everything. Skip test as if we have nothing in the tracking. But this one should be instance data. I'll keep the name, instance data. Okay. Go. If closest is not equal to that, Um, but I don't really care if minimum distance is something. So I say, if vertex distance squared to closest is less than min distance squared, we're still too close. So I can just say continue. Just skip that. Otherwise, I guess, yeah, I just say this, right? These all have to be true. If minimum distance is positive, and we have a closest thing that we're tracking, check that we are currently far enough away. And if we're not, we continue. We don't need to go any further than that. So is self, I'm not gonna worry about that. Still not worried about that. I guess here I'd be worried about it. Check if we are far enough from the last tracked instance. Okay. And then if we're not tracking anything, we skip. This can be the case. I was thinking about this. Do I need to check tracking first? I don't think so. Because I can log that I'm close to something. Oh no. This is not good. If I have tracking pruning, it's gonna happen a lot where I'm doing this optimization here, but there's an instance that I really care about. Maybe I have like a huge minimum distance. Nothing else looks at it. So I end up pinging that and say, oh, I'm too close to this one. And then I start going and I'm still too close, and I've gone so many rows down that it would have been pruned because it's just such a large area, I guess. Large distance. But let's say there's another one on the same row. Let's say they're on 2 corners of the same section. I hit this one. And then I go a full row because I'm just too close to it. And I never hit this one. But then at the very end, I'm like, okay, I'm finally far enough away. But then this other one would be close enough still that I should consider it. Also, yeah, it doesn't actually work for rows. I just noticed that too. Damn, I'm really bad at this. So yeah, doing this will allow me to prune things, which is not good. I mean, it even means on the same row, it's just the same thing. It'll be pruning because I'm not like tagging it as being too close. Oh wait, I think I remember what I said I needed. I remember now. For pruning, I can only remove it if it has a left and a right neighbor that are further down and closer to it than it is from the unknown area, I guess. That's how that works. Never mind. Okay. So this optimization is fine because it still has to physically place new items to replace this one on that column. Right? Okay, we're good. I'm actually good with that. Pruning isn't just if we go a full row without touching it, then we drop it. We have to do that in addition to finding neighbors that essentially effectively override it. Because if we ever do distance checks, we would always find those 2 neighbors to be closer than that one. So like 2 neighbors, we can drop 1. If we have a bunch in a line, we can drop all the ones in the middle eventually, because they would have left and right neighbors that are all closer. Well, not closer. They just have left and right neighbors that would be hit before the one in the middle would be. I guess it also means I can even do a thing where I can check the minimum distances that we're looking at for everything. And if something is far enough up that it's outside of everyone's minimum distance, then we can drop it as well. I guess that would kind of be as simple as like putting a counter on it, really. I don't have to do the left and right neighbors. I could just put a number on it. And say after 10 rows, or I guess really because a lot of these are like 4 meters. After 4 rows, we can drop anything that is 4 rows above where we're at. So it could literally just be like putting a number on it. Computing the highest distance that we need to account for, and then just decrementing that number every row. And once it's 0, we're done. There's no way it could ever be close enough to anything else to matter. Cool. Okay, so that's fine. This is fine. And then now we're going to look at everything. If we're ourselves, looking at this max density distance. And for ourselves, it actually needs to be both. I guess in this case, it'd be like that max thing, right? So larger value. Okay. And then stop early if the best option is too far. So I already do this check up here. Actually, I guess that actually drops out, doesn't it? Yeah, where somehow I just wrote this in a different way. Okay. And this actually goes here. Okay, then if this value squared is greater than self-distance square, we also break. Okay. Stop early if the distance is further than best. Yeah. Okay. So when we read this, and we say if we're ever too close, determine this square. And I guess actually if it's less than, yeah, this is weird. If it's less than 1, then we actually don't track this at all. One shift key. Actually, I'm just gonna write an else then. this should always be there. And these can be elif. I'll do else. I should go back to else. Because this isn't a self thing. Okay. So now we need to check if we're too close. Instance data. Would be set. Instance ID to vector 3i of point x, point y, and this would be data z still, because we still haven't actually gone through it. We have to go through everything and clear a whole thing. If data z is not equal to int max and column is less than or equal to what do we call difference? Essentially what last tells me is that I can skip that whole area. I can skip from that column back. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't actually know how far I can skip, do I? No, I do. It means I can skip the whole this. I can skip min and max distance. I can skip all of that. If is self, if we're doing ourselves, I can run this. If yeah. If range is less than or equal to this one. Oh no, if we are... If range is greater than this... If I'm equal to the distance, I'm skipping it. So range has to be specifically within this area. If range is greater than that, and range is less than this. We're... Okay. Then we can skip that. Okay. Otherwise, just this. I guess what I could do is actually I could just do this. I guess I do have this extra check though. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I was about to move this around, but the order this matters. This specifically has to be after the continue. Okay. This is just continues. We can skip that range. Doesn't matter. This does allow me to check prior to it though. Because that could be something I need to do. But I guess generally not. Oh. Actually, yeah, I think if we're prior to this point, we can definitely skip it. So if range is negative, because that just means we'd be checking things that are further away than this clear check. And this gets clear at every column, every row. So I don't have to worry about in the same row something appearing further back with a higher... Yeah, this is the last time that we were clear, which means there's no point near this one that was too close. On the same row. I verified there was nothing closer than this. I think of this optimization kind of seems like it might just be pointless. Because this would only happen a couple times. Unless the density is really low. But even then, if the density is really low, maybe it is fine then for low density stuff to skip. Because, yeah, never mind. It's actually perfect for that. Because this will grow very large. And so if I clear an area and it's like a 1% chance to spawn something, I could fail it. And then I step over one piece and I'll know, all right, everything in like this huge area was clear. So only check like the small sliver in front of you to see if you need to update your density, basically. So this is really good for super low density stuff where it's like a 1% chance for like 10 meters straight. Like a very, very low chance until something else could appear. Okay. Skip the last cleared range. Looking at ourselves, we're doing this. Otherwise, I don't care about this. It's just the minimum distance. We already cleared that minimum distance, so I don't need to look at it again. In this case, I can definitely do like this, I guess. Just start with min distance, then if self. I guess if self and max density is greater than size. Do that. And now I can just do this check plainly. And since it's so short, just bring it like that. Okay. Skip the last cleared range. Also, I guess this is actually kind of ranges to be recomputed every time, but this one can be computed once. So I'll call this clear size. Okay. Column diff. This can also just be computed once. This kind of sucks. So we call it range size or max radius. Or it's the same thing, it would just be... Wait, these are the same things actually. I'm doing the same check. Alright, let me call this max. Call that max radius. And then these would go up here. I guess these would go up here. Then if self. And okay. skip last cleared range, and then skip columns outside the radius. For density, stop early if the distance is further than best. Must do a check after the above distance checks. Oh, no. 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 Here. Stop the distance further than best. Wait. Stop if beyond our vertex and further than best. So if column diff is positive, and this. Oh, as we're just kind of doing that. Alright, yeah, there's a lot of like weird reworks here to make this good, but the code is so much simpler now. It seems a lot simpler. Very trivial. We're just, if we have anything, if we were tracking something that was too close, we have to be further from it before we can do anything. So this helps with large amount of distances, so we're just not continuously doing anything. We're just checking to see if now we're far enough away or not. Okay. And I guess the last column doesn't need to be... Wait, what? Actually, I literally don't even use that variable, so just drop it. So we have new closest. W key doesn't work as well. So yeah, if self, we've checked every column for this instance. If we got a new closest and new closest is not the same thing, this one shouldn't be happening, right? This shouldn't be happening. Yeah, because I can guarantee at this point that, because I get down here, we're far from closest. Well, I mean, I guess for self this can happen, so whatever. So if we ever find anything that's too close for this one, I mean, I guess I don't do a return. I mean, yeah, I probably should do a return, right? I was thinking if I need to actually check everything all the time. Nah. I'll just do a break. We found one that we're too close to, so then we can just kind of stop and say, all right, well, we got to get further away from this one before we can continue on that instance. But then I can still check other instances to possibly see, okay, I checked this column and we were clear, so we don't need to check this one later. But I guess the idea is like, do you really need to be doing all that every time? I mean, how many... I feel like the most I might have is probably 4 things with minimum distances. So like one item could have a minimum distance from itself and 3 other things. And I feel like that number is going to stay small. I guess I'll leave a note. Okay. So if we are ourselves, if new closest was nothing and it's not the same thing as closest, then I can do instance data set instance ID to be vector 3i Oh no, I said it. I do set it there. Okay, that's right. I set it there. Dang. Maybe this should just be a return. The issue is that if I'm going along the same row, suddenly I have this like. I found something at the start that's kind of close, and then I have this huge range that I've skipped. So I have to check this huge area suddenly. Would it be better spread it over? I guess the question is like, as long as I've kept it, then it's fine. So yeah, I think a return here actually is best. Because otherwise I'm always doing more work that I may... I have to do all that work anyway. So I guess it's either I do it now, I do small pieces constantly, or I do one big piece later. But I guess also maybe I'm just too close for the entire row. So then I would drop an entire row. actually. I would skip for an entire row, but I don't have to do this check. So yeah, definitely just keep it with return there. If I get here, I was never close enough to anything to cancel it, so I can definitely place it now. So then I can say new closest X, new closest Y, vertex X. Okay. Let me do an and here. Come on, shift key work, please. Going crazy. Okay. Although I set it back to data X, data Y, and then vertex Z. What's the problem? Oh, vertex X. So yeah, this means for, at least in that case, I cleared the whole area around that spot. There's nothing too close. Okay, so I feel like this should probably work a whole lot better now. Like this should definitely not do that bug, that weird placement thing it was doing. With comparable performance, or better. Tracking it and change. All right. Ready to try it. Clear, populate. Value to a variable of 3. 775. All right, so I've just printed 33,000 errors. I guess I should test on the smaller one. 775. Okay, so I don't get that because it should be. Oh, I am setting a vertex. Okay. Data X set back to data. Okay. All right, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to do a smaller region. Okay, trying to assign a value dictionary to a variable. Really? What? No, that's what it is. That's what it is. Oh. No, it is that. Never mind. This. So inst ID, inst other in this, the data is come on. Oh my. I've gotten so used to this. So the normal keycaps were made with like had the QWERTY printing on them, and they were also made for, you know, the layout of the QWERTY layout. So I moved all the keys around, and I guess I've gotten used to feeling the height differences between those keys to figure out roughly where my fingers were sitting. And I'm getting so confused because I feel some of these height differences, and I'm like, no, this is where my finger should be now. I say I feel height differences. I don't feel height differences, and I'm getting confused. So now I have like, the keys are back in their normal spot, so they're all like the same height along the row. Oh. So for inst other in instance data, then I say distance data is inst data get inst other ID, and then I would do inst data set other ID x, keep x and y, and then set that to max. Okay. Okay. Cool. So weirdly, minimum distance just straight up got ignored. That's crazy. That's really annoying that that happened. Why did it not care about minimum distance at all? That's nuts, in fact. Why? Why did it actually not care at all? Oh, is it because... I get it. No, I don't get it. I actually don't get it. I just look what this did. It placed one here and then said, okay, place one here, place one here, place one here every time. So it's definitely a case where it places and it like can't. How did this one not catch that one though? Like that's what I don't get. It seems like when I start the next row, it always places one and then it goes a while, and then it places like crazy. Was that just like random chance that it looked like that? Let me turn this one off. Okay. It looks like it's just always running at max probability. Let me just put all the prints in there. Let's go to vertex so I can actually see it. Tell me the truth. Okay, so yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah, it goes 4, saying first run. And it says still too close to 3, -8. What? Three -8. This is 0 right here. 0, 1, 2, 3. -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What? So it said still too close to 3 -8 and then placed one anyway? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, because I say continue instead of return. Okay, so I'm stupid. Okay, well, it still failed immediately. These two are definitely just too close together. So annoying. Oh, man. I'm about to save this for tomorrow. I already started this like really tired. I don't know if it's like clear, but I've been like, I can feel like I've been trying to keep my eyes open for a long time. So this has been an improvement. It's less code to look at for sure. It's quite a lot less. I still just have some silly logic errors in here. Probably something to do with returns or I don't know what. Right, the max radius gets set to max density distance in case of that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of how that happened now. Because I feel like the code is so simple that it should be like a really obvious thing at this point. Yeah, I feel like it should be like really obvious. Like quite literally, I would have wrote continue instead of return or something. Like I did up here, which I fixed. You know, this could probably just go right up at the top. If we're not tracking it, we don't care. If minimum distance is positive, and we had a closest value, and our distance squared is within the minimum distance square. Also, there should be an integer. Oh, never mind. This can definitely be a float. Never mind. I think it's got something to do with this, right? Self is when instance ID is our own. New closest, instance map. Max radius. If data z is not int max, which I'm resetting that correctly, right? Yeah, I am. So when it is int max, I don't do this test. I just check if our column could matter. Which that gets sorted every time. If we were too close, we have a new point. I just maintain that same data z, whatever it was. Well, if it's the same instance, maybe it could be this actually. I think it might be like a less than or equal to is in the wrong spot. No, this seems right because this is like just the complete opposite of this one, right? If we're on the max radius, so this could be I need to look 10 away to find one, which would just be the same as max. Or it'd be the minimum distance, which is also the same as max. So if I'm looking at this block that's 6 away from me, then I don't care about it because it could be anything. I don't care. That is the max distance, so I'd be fine. Even if one was there, I'd be fine. So maybe it's here. If the column difference is positive, it means we're after. And you know, maybe I have to like not actually care. Maybe I have to not do this. Because I have to go the full space. Maybe that was it. These definitely place too close together, so. Oh man. Also, how do I get first run no instances and not place something? What? Super confused. Oh. Got it. What? Still too close to 5, -9, but it didn't place one that did it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So apparently it claimed that it's placed one here, which is incorrect. That's not right. Put instance. We'll update this. Because we're definitely putting one there. But... what? What? New closest vector to I max. Vector to I max. Data x, data y. But did I make something up here? No, I don't know. I don't know. First, what? No. What? I'm so confused. No. Don't do this. Don't do that. Do what you did before. Where you didn't place one at the start and then you claim that you did. I don't know. This is obviously wrong. Because I should have found that one. This one's obviously wrong because I should have found that one. Like, I'm not moving that thing, am I? Yeah, just set the X and Y. I don't change the column. So we end up on this column. We basically clear the area. We say, all right, cool, we cleared. Okay, print when you're adding them. Okay, I didn't get anything weird by chance. Okay, cool. Literally, like, the second one did the thing. First run, none. First run, none. Add 1, negative a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is correct. Still too close. And then nothing closer. Then we placed here. Still too close. And then we got nothing closer, nothing closer, and nothing closer 3 times in a row. To this one? What? How does it not find that one? I don't understand. How does it not find that one? I bet I just have one of these things backwards. Like this radius thing is backwards. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say print. Yeah. No. I gotta be able to see. Right? I mean, that just shouldn't happen, right? So that shouldn't happen. Data Z is only set here. Which is fine. That's fine. Nothing closer. That's not fine. So this should be saying nothing closer. Vertex, then closest. Maybe this will give me a clue. Okay, cool, it happened. Still too close, so this will be the second time I place. Nothing closer to 4-7 than 2-7. Yes, that doesn't make any sense. It didn't see the one that was up here, even though it definitely should have. So if we're too close, then we're too close. And we skip. But it seems like here then somehow I am jumping out of that. Honestly, man, I get the feeling that I'm going to add more print statements and it's just going to suddenly start working. Because it's happened so many times and I really hate that. Because it's definitely because there's some code that for some reason just, it's like, doesn't compile it or whatever the hell it does. And eventually by adding a print statement, it like forces it to like run code correctly. Because I even had a weird thing earlier where it said no new instance or like first run or no new instances. And then on the next line it said, because that one vertex at the top is the only time it checks that. And it said nothing closer than blank. I was like, but you didn't put anything there. And now I have the print statement to say that, and now it's not pretending to like place something that's not there anymore. So I don't know. I don't understand. I feel like I'm actually just being like messed with. so much with this. So that can only mean that I've skipped it. Can only mean that I skipped it. And this definitely won't be true because this would not happen on the second. I guess the second row went and was fine. Third row, we reset, so we found it again. We said we were clear. Maybe we were clear. We definitely said we were clear here. And it did check 3 times, so it actually did check this one, and then this one, and then it plays. And then it updated the closest one to be this one. And we're definitely further than 6 away from that, so it wouldn't have even, whatever, right? So it marks that as the clear position. No, I don't even see new closest. This doesn't mark a clear either. So the only time we can set it clear, oh, we would set it clear here too. Okay. So we say we cleared that one, which is immediately actually, yeah, wrong. Because we placed here. And it said nothing closer than to this point than this one, which is totally wrong because there's one up here. I guess you can't really see it. I'll zoom in. I'll turn on... Can I turn on overdraw? No, that doesn't work. Oh, unshaded. No, that's totally... Okay. Essentially right here, I think it probably should have picked up that one. But I think it still says it's too close, so once we got here, then it didn't pick up anything different. It straight up didn't. This is like really annoying what's happening right now. Like the auto exposure is just going like, it's too much. Okay. Nothing closer. So yeah, to me this means that we skipped over it. Because it should have hit here. It should have found this one, and when it found it, it would say too close. So we must have not even checked that one. Right, we didn't even check that one. Because it got put into tracking. It's right there. It's right here. This is tracking. I'm printing tracking. I guess I'm not printing tracking? No, I am. Instance map is the tracking. Is from tracking. So, it's right there. This is what it has to work with. So it can see 5 and -9. On this point, it can see that one. It should be able to. Which means it had to skip over it. So it either skipped... It could not skip for this. So this is where the bug is. It skipped here. So it would have said 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 is not less than the negative of that. 1 is not greater than that. So I don't understand why it skipped. I guess I'll do prints. Oh my gosh, can I just... Stop on column after concerns. Okay. Okay, cool, it happened. You can see these two right here. First run, and then it placed. Too close to this one, too close to this one. Wait, too close, too close. What? What do you mean nothing closer? Oh, this one's not included, never mind, yeah, so it would have gone here. Nothing closer than that one. Placed one. Too close, too close, too close. Nothing closer to 2.7 than -4.7. Seriously. Okay, so apparently I don't know what I'm doing. Because it literally didn't check that one. I don't understand. It actually didn't check that one at all. Let me do this. Because I don't know how it could be skipping. So... I guess somehow it is that. Are we... Okay, it didn't really happen. So on a new one, where like really obviously happens. Okay. That one also don't like. Okay, this one I can work with. So there's one here. And there's one over here. I'm just gonna like turn off the water, I guess. Turn that off. Overdraw. Or just wireframe. No, because that's just annoying. Okay. Close enough. So it must be skipping that point. First row, no instance. Still too close. I think this is for a whole row here. Then second row, nothing closer, new, still too close. Skipping column -4 within previously cleared area. Skipping column 5 within previously cleared area. So that just doesn't make sense. Because the previously cleared area would be 4 right now. So the difference between 4 and 5 is 9. So... Oh, this should just be minimum distance? Damn. Yeah, this should just be minimum distance. It's... Why can't I just look at the code and see that mistake? Why do I have to do this? That's so annoying. I just feel stupid. Like I must be right. Just... Man. Turn this one on. Whoops, I didn't clear first. Turn all the printing off. Why is it placing like that? Why is it placing like that? What? Huh? Wait, the mesh moves. Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure how that works, but alright. And it looks like it's doing well now. Okay, clear. Let's go over here. Everything's there. Populate. Pretty quick. Why did I get first run no instances printing? I thought I guess I did not. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. 0.4 seconds. Pretty good. So now I look to see if any trees are like in the wrong place. Immediately I have a problem. What? That doesn't feel right. Yeah, because these are supposed to be 6 units away. This is definitely within 6 units here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Manhattan distance is 5. It's literally too close. What's my mistake? Another one. Those are definitely too close. What is my mistake? Seriously. I can't have those mistakes. Like, I just can't. Also, this one's minimum distance with itself is 2. And some of these are literally... I mean... Let me just turn them off. So somehow it managed to happen once. Or I got one that was absolutely too close. Somehow it said it was too close. Because here's what it's supposed to do. It gets this and it returns. Closest, when I add one, that becomes closest. Right here. I add one at this vertex, it becomes closest. Closest. So... I mean, unless there was a tree there before, that literally doesn't make sense to me. That shouldn't be possible. It should have said too close, too close, too close, and then kept going. Unless this gets cleared. Unless this was somehow clearing it. No, it can't be. It's copying the data right back into it. Actually doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. It should have stopped right there. Every time. Yeah, that seriously didn't make sense for one to appear right next to itself like that. So it must have already been there. That's the only explanation, is that it was already there. And I don't know, maybe it is working? I'm not seeing any that are like obviously too close. I'm definitely seeing ones that like I count. I'm like, yeah, I can prove that that one's been placed too close together. I can't be having mistakes like this. What is this distance? This one looks really close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's 2 and then 6. So it's definitely further than 6 apart, actually. Yeah, it is. Oh wait, no. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 and then 2. I want to see it happen again where it like puts 2 literally on top of each other. I struggle to believe that these can't be 2 apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are closer than 5 meters. These are within 5 meters. And I believe I set the minimum distance to be 6. Yes. So it would have found this one and said we're too close. Unless it's that clear radius, right? Like, on this line, this one was clear, clear, clear. And this one, like, technically cleared that space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 for what? Is that 7 then? Maybe that's 6 actually. Isn't that a triangle? A 4, 5, 6 triangle? Is a 4, 5, 6 triangle possible? I guess it's a valid triangle. 4, 5, 6 is a valid triangle. So, okay. So this means this one has counted it being clear here. So I need to say, when I'm considering the clear range, should I be subtracting 1? Do I need to subtract 1? I can do this. Minimum distance minus 1. Plus 1. No, this is weird. This is really weird. I guess that actually does exclude it, which is weird. It does exclude it. But it's more that minimum distance 6. So this is a 4 or 5. This is correct. So what's the mistake here? There's a logical mistake somewhere in my code. This one was valid. It cleared this area. It didn't actually look at this one, did it? That's what happened. It didn't actually look at that one because it has to be within. So yeah, this is supposed to be -1. It is supposed to be -1. And then I guess this becomes greater than or equal to. Okay, it would be like -5 is greater than 4, -4. Wait, what? What? This is our signed distance, right? So I can actually just say absolute value that. And if range is within min distance, we can skip it. But I think I'm supposed to subtract 1. So if, think of it like this. If 5 is less than what's the distance here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Six. No, I get it. I forgot to do the I forgot to do a certain part of this. If we are within this area, then I still need to get the Y point. I still have to get the Y point. So if we are possibly within the range that we cleared, so the minimum distance is 6. If I'm on 6, I need to compute the actual range there. And essentially what happened is it should compute a circle that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It should compute a circle that does not enclose this point. It actually wouldn't enclose that point. A quarter circle there. So I don't know that numbers are weird, and apparently have been doing the regular number there. Whatever. If we are within range, in fact, let me just do this. Also, I don't really need this check there. No, I probably do, because this is kind of complicated, maybe. But then more than just this. Okay. Get the point, column, and then here I have to also be within that column area. I have to have the potential of being close enough. And then I have to actually check that column. Only if the value is positive. Wait. I'm seeing the issue with last cleared. It's actually not like that at all. I can't do this check. I can definitely at least do skip last. Let's just do this. Just do that. What's the timing? 0.118. Okay, so it was like slightly faster, but I guess probably just because it failed more often. I don't know. Slightly faster apparently. Two one. Okay. Right now, I'm assuming I'm not gonna find any. Yeah, it immediately doesn't look like there's any that are like that. I'm gonna turn on overdraw because it makes these easier to see. Any of these look too close. None of them stick out to me as being too close. This is definitely a little bit of an issue though. This can happen. How close are these? I mean, I know for a fact they gotta be at least 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Oh, because one placed here, so by the time I would have placed one, it didn't place one because of that one. Okay. And then that just kind of threw in randomness from there on. I say randomness. It's partially an issue because the probability of spawning one is still so high once we're close to it. So the next thing that I want to do is I want when we're going to compute it, I want to include the minimum distance. So I want to say the square root of the nearest square minus the do this. Hey, Dan. Am gun Shi'arin. Do I have your blessing? Yes. You don't need my blessing for that. Just go. So I want to know if itself has this value. And if it does, this needs to be factored in. This. Actually, I just do that, and then, well, actually, when I set it, I already have this, right? I already have this, so I already have it. I already have it. I don't know why I'm doing that. Nearest is that one, minus the min distance square. Can I do that? Square root of 3. Wait. I guess I do a math test here. What would the equivalent be? It'd be the equivalent of math square roots. I'll just say 25 minus 9. Then math square roots 25 minus, these are definitely different, aren't they? Yeah. Well, nearest square is only set once, so I'll just do that. Nearest will be equal to square root of this minus the square root of, actually it would just be min distance. Okay, so the idea here is that when I set the minimum distance to 6, that is like being 1 unit away. Yeah, it's like being 1 unit away. So now the probability of placing 1 on 1 unit, so it'll be a little less dense. So minimum distance will affect the apparent. It should start looking more random. That's my expectation. This should start looking a bit more random. Strangely, it placed a lot. It placed a lot. So new closest. Oh, I think I get it. Oh no, yeah, I definitely do get it. And then here I say if I am struggling so much. If we are south, we didn't find one closer than this point. I still need to set nearest to be that distance. And just do vertex. This is the closest, and then sending again. This one, like, kind of sucks. That I'm writing it like this so much. Whatever. Right, that looks way different now. I say way different. Definitely has a different look to it, for sure. There's more spacing that I'm seeing. Yeah, there's more variety, for sure. Because it used to be, like, really quite regular. This looks a lot more random. Because you can have these huge gaps now. That's what I wanted to see. And then you can still have places where they're really close. Because there's just the chance. This one kind of sucks. I guess this is a small shape, though. So I wouldn't really be doing small shapes. I wouldn't really be doing squares like this. And it really strangely just really likes to put them right up on the edges, too. It's like I can see... This one I kind of can't. I can trace it, but I can't really see the boundary of it very well. This one the same way. I don't think I have a shape that complicated looking. This one really just like goes along that edge. So does this one. I can see like the full shape of it. Although there is a huge empty patch there. Oh, well, I guess that's intentional. Okay, I'm going to turn on the randomness for placement. And see that. Now it should be way harder to spot it. Okay, the border still looks kind of crazy. I don't know if there's any way that I can have it. That would be nice. I'd like to be able to set to say like an edge and say blend out the edge or something. So 10 meters in, you're at 100% density, and then once you hit the edge, you're at 0, and then I just set that distance. So I could say fade it by 2 or 3 meters. So starting at 3 meters in from an edge, we're at 100%, and then On the edge effectively would just be a 0% chance, really, is what I'm getting at there. So I'm not gonna, that would immediately solve the issue of getting these like really obvious lines, because it just wants to place them on the edge so much. Like this, you can see how much it's placing on the edge here. How close these are to the edge. These would be a very low chance with like a 3 meter. This would already be like a 50-50 that this would have been here, and this one as well. This one would have a 0% chance of spawning on the edge, so same with this one. So these two may or may not have spawned. You might have gotten one or none of these. And then you would have something better on the inside, I guess. Okay. Alright, well I guess I want to go see what this looks like. Ooh, that's tough. So I'm just gonna hit quit, and the assumption is that because I didn't, it definitely did save it, it's just turning 3D as being stupid. I don't know which one it is. It's like both. Godot has something stupid, Train 3D does something stupid, and both of those stupids combine to make something even more stupid, which is that this terrain material loves to just like completely reset. Like it literally just goes back to default. And I don't understand why it does that. It really doesn't make any sense. It's happened a lot too recently. It's happened way more frequently. Just, I don't get it. There's like a long period where that wasn't happening. I wonder if it has something to do with the instancer, like using the instancer can just cause that to happen. Alright. I would say it definitely looks less regular from the inside now. I remember before I was like walking like this and I was like, okay, I can kind of see like, oh, suddenly there's a big line and the big gap. And suddenly there's a big line and then a gap. I don't see that at all right now. This direction would be most obvious. Yeah, I'm not seeing like a line and then a gap. This one, kind of, there's a line and a gap. Kind of. Yeah, so it seems like it does happen. But I think I definitely have to say it's less noticeable. That's a pretty ridiculous line. How did this happen? Like none of these got shifted off. Are they not shifting? They are. How did that happen? There's like literally a perfect line here. Where was that line? It was like right here. Yeah, I think just the fading out at the edges will really help with that. Still not totally happy with it. Maybe the density just needs to be a little bit lower again. Why does it just not look any... Is it like it's not technically saving that resource or something? I don't... But it's a tool, it's in memory, so it should be using it. We have a very obvious line here. A super large line there. Damn. I don't know if I can avoid that. Like, look at this. This is just a really big line. Here's a line. It's like I'm making a crystal. And it's like a model for an atomic like scale crystal. Cuz the atoms would generally be aligned like this, like really well ordered, but every now and then you just have like one that kind of pushes everything off. Like look, I'm gonna turn off that. Like you can see this just line on the edge. This big line. This line. So many lines. I don't. I mean, maybe I shouldn't really care about the edges so much, but definitely when I zoom in, it's like, it just seems like there's these large lines. Maybe what I need to do is I need to divide it by a larger factor here. Like 2 pi. Maybe that's what I need to do. Let me just try modifying that randomness formula. And change nothing else. Why does it just look the exact same? Like I didn't do anything? It straight up just looks like I didn't do anything. Like this is the same result. How? Is my formula wrong? How? I just like limited the maximum probability that I can have and it just did nothing. Four pi. Why? Why is it like actually doing nothing? I mean, maybe it's a little bit better now. The edges aren't so clear. Maybe I just got lucky this time, but I can still spot like a huge line all the way through. Like you can just trace a line. I think just the way I'm doing it just makes the line happen. It does stop here, like that, it does stop, but I guess you could really say it doesn't stop, it just makes a big jump down. Yeah, I'm skeptical of what's happening here, because I'm like limiting the maximum probability and it's still apparently really likely. Like there's a very low chance. Something is weird. I haven't been clearing this one. 200, 230, 270. I'm only dropping like 30 out of this whole range. What is happening? That's crazy. This is a very big number. I mean, I guess it's because this probability is just flat the whole time. So maybe it's my function that's wrong. It should be over pi, but like I need to... Do I need to square it? Raise to the power of pi? I don't know. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I guess the cosine function just sucks for this. It's just really bad. Or maybe for 100? Yeah, what if I just do it over 100? I don't know. What if I just do it over 100? Whoops. Very obvious line there. Line there. I guess there's a little bit, it's a little bit less, but then it's just like as soon as I go to 10, I'm back to exactly where I was before. So you know, I think probably it is the it is the noise, isn't it? So possibly I do have to go for this whatever he did. He has this blue noise image here. Why is it colored though? I don't understand the colors. Colors are weird. What's with the colors? I'll look it up really quick. Blue noise algorithm. Because if his whole thing was just, yeah, I just pre-computed okay. Whoa. Can I get the reader, please? Oh, come on. This is too bright to look at. This is way too bright to look at. Why can't I get... Ah. Is there seriously no way to make this... Like, why is it not showing up as an... What did he do? Does Firefox really require it to be in like an article tag? Oh, that's so sad. Firefox has like hard coded that it needs to be an article tag. And for some reason he doesn't use article. Why not? Why did he not use article? Well, I could just read it here. No. Tough. I would read that. Okay. I don't think I can do this right now, honestly. I think I actually just gotta def. Wait, this is in Python. This is literally Python. Numpy. Okay. I'm gonna call there for today. I feel like it's just gotta be my density function. I need a second source of randomness. Because, like I said, what's gonna happen is I just set my density to 10 and then I have the same problem again, right? It's just masking it because I'm placing less of them so it doesn't appear. But the real issue is that my single source of random just tends to the average, right? Or I guess what I mean there is it tends to the average too quickly. What? It tends to the average way too much. So somewhere around, 4 or 5 meters away from its minimum distance, it's really likely to place another one. Like, you multiply 0.2 times 0.3. You multiply, I guess you don't have to multiply them together. You would multiply their inverses, and you end up with a really small chance eventually that you would get too far away before trying to place one. So I think what I do is if I had a second source of randomness, I could say, essentially on each placement, I place one, I roll a random number, which would act as like a multiplier to the probability of the next time. So how would I compute that one? I'm not really sure. Maybe it could just be an inverse. The probability that wins gets flipped, and then I use that as a multiplier for the next time. So low probability chance of placing, like once we're 3 meters away, or I guess really I could say we're 1 meter away. We had a 1% chance of placing it there. So I'd flip that and get a 99%. Maybe I take a number, a random number, and I multiply that by the inverse of this. So in general, the probability that multiplier is going to be higher. So then next time, I guess when things are close, they'll be close. And when things are far away, I guess my thinking there is that it causes a little more. I don't know, maybe I just have to look at it to see it, but I think just like a second source of randomness that's still a little bit procedural could make the lines go away. Or maybe I just take the chance that it won as the multiplier itself. So then I would need a really high chance. A 56% chance would then become like a 5% chance or something. I place one at the max distance, 56%. That drops down to this value. Maybe that would actually just make it kind of like tend down really fast. The multiplier just gets small really quickly, which is why I wouldn't do like that. I have to flip it around. So when the probability was low, the multiplier goes up. And when the probability was high, the multiplier goes down. So it will kind of fluctuate back and forth. It shouldn't like settle anywhere, I think. I guess it would actually settle like... No, because we're all underneath 1. So it shouldn't settle. It should just keep bouncing back and forth, really. I guess I have to scale it. So this one is like my guarantee. So instead this would be like a 0 multiplier, which I can't actually do a 0 multiplier because that would prevent it from ever spawning again. Anyway. That's it. I gotta think about it more. My source of random is really bad. Because it is... Well... Okay, here's a thought. I could snake back and forth. So instead of doing... row, 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 I would do row, row backwards, row forwards, row backwards. Would that drop the lines? Maybe. What does it like have a tendency to do? It has a tendency to kind of like drift right. I feel like I always see the lines going from left to right. So I'm just snaking alone would help. So when I place one here and I go over here, I'm not like immediately like a high probability of placing another one, right? Because I would be at the max distance. I would start down here, low probability, and then here is where I would probably place it. I'd place it over here instead of over here. That might not even help this one, actually. Oh, this one just failed a bunch. It failed this, well, no, it started this row. It failed this entire row. I don't know, we'll go on here, then come this way, and then likely, still likely, less likely, not happening, and then it would be likely over here. Would that make it more regular, instead of jumping all the way to the left and like possibly adding in some... It might not look any different. It actually probably wouldn't look any different, now that I think about it. Okay, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it for real this time. I've said that like 3 or 4 times now. That's for real. Okay. I'll be back tomorrow. Probably. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.